Happy New Year's, everybody. I really wasn't planned on doing this review, but I figured, why the hell not? Time for the intro. So yeah, I'm recording this right on New Year's Eve. It is currently 9:19 p.m. here in Massachusetts. Typically I'll record a review and then I'll wait a couple days, then I'll be like, fine, I'll finally edit it, and then I'll be like, oh my god, this is gold! And then I'll upload it. Well, tonight I really have no choice. So I'm gonna have to record this, then edit it all together, and hopefully, yeah, I'm sure it'll be done by midnight. Anyways, what I'm reviewing today, more cigars. I know a lot of you guys really miss the dipping videos, and they're not gone. It's just that I have nothing to review. Everything they sell around here I've already reviewed. I'd like to review a few things. Is Grizz 1900, they don't sell it around here. Skull Classic, they don't sell it around here. Red Seal Wintergreen, and they don't sell it around here. They don't sell anything I want to review around here. If any of you happen to have these dips in your area and wouldn't mind sending me a can, I would gladly pay you the money for them. And I'll pay the shipping too, because I'm a nice guy like that. I'd also like to review Gold River, but I know that's pretty limited in areas. Moving on. Today I'm reviewing a brand of cigars you may or may not be familiar with. They're called Ugly Coyotes, and I'm reviewing the Ugly Coyote Test Flight. A test flight is essentially online when you buy them. They give you like a bunch of different flavors, like a pack of each flavor. And as far as I know, I have every flavor here except for the honey. They didn't send the honey, but that's alright. I have the honeyberry close enough. So let me show you the flavors. We have Ugly Coyote Natural Sweet, Ugly Coyote Chocolate, Ugly Coyote Honeyberry, Ugly Coyote Berry, and Ugly Coyote Cherry. He's making a list. He's checking it twice, but I can't check my list twice because I don't know where the fuck it is, so Joey Litz is looking in his drawer and he found it. I know that was terrible. So the presentation, they came out with these when I was in freshman year in high school, so that was 2009. And they came out with these and I was like, oh, what a ripoff of Backwoods. And I was like, these will never be as good as Backwoods. And now I'm very glad they came out with these because Backwoods switched to the 5-pack and they now suck. These still come with 8 in a pack and they're good. So here we go. For the draw, structure, wrap, relightability, all that stuff, they're the same for all of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to review each one by flavor and scent, and then I'm going to move on to just reviewing them all for the rest, if that makes any sense. Hopefully it does. It's kind of what I'm going to do here. We'll start with the natural sweet. Now, first of all, the presentation of these. They're rustic, kind of, you know, they have the tin-foily, you know, the old-fashioned kind of thing. What's cool about these that, unlike Backwoods, and let me show you. When you go to open it, it has a perforation. It just rips open, which is cool. Backwoods, you just kind of have to tear and hope it tears evenly. These are not like that. Also, you'll notice that these have no warning labels on them. You want to know why? Because it's all natural tobacco. Any cigar that's all natural tobacco, they don't have warning labels on them. Because they're not nearly as bad for you as, you know, stuff like Black and Mild. As much as I love them, they're very bad for you. So you'll notice that. So they look very nice. I like the design of these. On the back it reads, it all started back in the late 1860s. The Civil War was over. Many Americans were heading west where the women were loose. Is it talking about their vagina? Oh no, it's not. Okay, moving on. The land was cheap, and the promise of the American dream awaited anyone who could survive the journey. Along the way, men smoked long, thin cigars that they rolled themselves. As the legend goes, one night while the wagons were circled, a man known as Big Duck Doyle was on watch and tending to the campfire. As Buck leaned over the light to light up one of the cigars, from out of nowhere a large coyote jumped on him. Buck went for his knife, but before he could put the blade into the beast, the coyote snatched the cigar out of his mouth and ran off. Alarmed by the scuffle, some of the other men came running out to see if Buck was alright. After Buck explained what happened, one of the men said, "You're lucky, my friend. That could have been one ugly mess." "One thing's for sure," said Buck. "That was an ugly coyote." And from then on, he began calling the cigars Ugly Coyote. Now you can enjoy the rich flavor and aroma of Ugly Coyote cigars, made with fine tobaccos for an honest and truly relaxing smoke. That story's probably bullshit, but we're gonna light it up now. First, when you smell this cigar, and I remember I did try these when they first came out, and when I was just a freshman, and this was the only flavor they had at the time, and they've since expanded. A little bit of a funky flavor. Definitely an odd flavor. It's kind of the... yeah. But let's not let the flavor off-put us. You can tell it's a, hand-rolled, like the old-fashioned backwoods. They are a bit thicker than backwoods, however. They have a little bit of a unneat end, I guess. That was very unprofessional sounding. What I like to do is I just take my scissors and, let me put the ashtray under here, and I just kind of snip it with my Swiss Army knife scissors and get it kind of neat. I'd recommend you do this. It'll kind of be a pain in the ass to light if you don't. It tends to burn uneven and stuff, but if you get it at least decent, you'll be good. Okay, so first of all, these have flavoring on the end, which tastes pretty darn good. The natural sweet is definitely my favorite here. Very just nice taste. It is sweet, but it's they're not artificial tasting. How could they taste artificial? They are all natural tobacco. Just a nice smooth flavor. I like it. Next we have the chocolate. I've smoked them all except for this one. So I'm still smoking the natural sweet, but I've smoked all of these, so I know what they all taste like. When you open up the package here, it just smells like a Hershey bar. It really does smell like chocolate. Very good smell. They taste pretty good. Not as good as some other chocolate cigars I've had, like Phillies, but they're pretty decent. They're not awesome, but they're not bad. The honeyberry. I wasn't sure if this was going to be quite like backwoods or not, and the smell is different. It's more of a raspberry kind of thing, whereas backwoods was just kind of a unique thing going on. It just smells like raspberry, and it really tastes like raspberry too, but it is a nice mild, smooth flavor. The berry, you can see it's blue. Well, it smells like blue raspberry, really. Yeah, it definitely smells and tastes like blue raspberry. No complaints on that one. And then last, we have cherry here. So, you take a sniff here, and it's not quite the skull cherry kind of cherry, because that's very distinct. I don't know what kind of cherry to really, I guess maybe, it's not quite cough syrupy, but it's a little bit on the artificial side, which, even though it's not, it still kind of smells it. And the taste of it, I'd say it was my least favorite out of all 5 of these flavors. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't awesome either. So let's move the fuck on here and do the rest of this review here. These cigars in themselves are very unique. You can't compare any of these flavors to any other ones, even honeyberry. You can't compare it to backwoods, it's much different. They're pretty unique cigars, and I am impressed with them. The one thing, however, is you need to get used to these cigars. They are probably the strongest cigars I've smoked. Not nicotine-wise, but smoke-wise. I remember when I first lit it up, I took a hit and I started coughing. And that happened to me for the first few cigars. I had to adjust to them. I had to wait for that nice layer of tar to build up on the lungs, even though I already have like a inch-thick layer on my lungs, or in my lungs rather. I had to adjust to them. You might have the same problem. They are harsh on the throat at first, and of course the lungs. You do adjust. I'm fine with them now. Get a pretty good amount of smoke with these. I'd say as much as a Philly. More than a black and mild. And the smoke smells, it doesn't smell quite aromatic, because these aren't aromatic cigars. They smell more of that, just that smoky smell. Not a horrible smell, but For anyone who doesn't smoke and walks in the room, they'll definitely be able to tell you're smoking cigars. For the draw, quite excellent. A lot of cigars, they have too tight a draw. It's hard to draw smoke. With these, the airflow is good. You know, you get a good amount of smoke. Everything's good with it. Excuse me for talking with my hands. I'm an Italian. That's why I like cigars and red wine. Yeah, I drink red wine. What are you gonna do about it? Nothing! Cause you're pussy! No, but really, if I'm at a party or something, I'll have a glass of red wine. I don't like to get drunk, but I do like to have a glass every once in a while with some cheese. It's really good with cheese. Especially if it's a horrible wine, because then that kind of blocks the flavor of the wine. Okay. Consistency. There have been a couple cigars that have had holes in them or something, just some inconsistencies or some that were partially unwrapped. For the unwrapped, I just kind of licked it and put it back, and it was fine for the rest of the smoke. As for the holes, they weren't too far down, so I just kind of snipped it off wherever the hole was and just smoked it kind of short. I'd say there were only 2 or 3 out of all these cigars, all these packs, that were actually like that. So I'd say the consistency is pretty good on these. Or the structure, rather. You know what I mean. The wrapper, these are supposedly hand-rolled. I don't know if they actually are, but they definitely have that appearance going on them. And I'd say they're rolled pretty well. They have a good wrapper on them. Pretty nice and thick, Construction is overall good of these cigars. The lightability, if you leave the end on, it's going to light horribly. It's going to be uneven. It's going to be a pain in the ass. Like I said, make sure you snip the end with scissors or something, because otherwise it's going to be a pain. But if you do it like I do it, they light up well and they stay lit unless you put it down. These are the kind of cigars, if you put them down, they're going to go out on you, so you don't want that. Lastability. These last a little bit longer than a Black and Mild, maybe a little longer than a Philly. A Philly cigarillo, not a Philly full cigar, They call them blunts. I don't like to call them blunts because that's what everyone calls when they make a cigar and make weed out of it, or put weed in it, I should say. They roll a blunt, you know what I mean? I'd say, more than a Black and Mild or a Philly cigarillo. They last pretty good, maybe 25 minutes. They last a good amount of time. And last but not least, aftertaste. These have pretty thick smoke. You do get a bit of an aftertaste from them. I'd say that's their only real con. Definitely, chew gum, use to brush your teeth, do something to get the flavor out, because let me tell you, these do leave a bit of an aftertaste, and not the best. But that's the only real con about these. So now it's time for the rating of the Ugly Coyote test flight here. Overall, they were good. At first I had to adjust to them, but now I'm pretty impressed. I think they're pretty good cigars. They're not perfect. I still prefer Phillies over these, but I'd say overall I'd give it an 8 out of 10 for all the flavors. Pretty good. I liked them. So if you happen to see them in the stores, pick them up. If not, you can buy them online at a bunch of stores. But that's been this review of the Phillies. Where's my fucking mind going? Of the Ugly Coyote test flight. I hope you enjoyed. More reviews coming soon. Take care. Hey everybody. I want to wish everybody a happy new year. I hope you all had a great 2011. 2011 was an amazing year for me. I had a great year overall. And cheers to a good 2012. So happy New Year's, everyone. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot for old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne. Of kindness yet for old lang syne. And here's the hand, my trusty friend, and here's a hand, oh thine. Should old acquaintance be forgot for old lang syne? For old lang cup of kindness yet for old lang syne.